Welcome, coach, to another episode of Build with the CEO. It is Tuesday, and today is November 18th. And my name is Trevor, and I'm the CEO of Coach Catalyst, and I'm excited to be here with you today. And today we are talking about some lead generation, end of the year lead generation. So to just give some context on where we're at right now. So it is mid-November. Okay, it is mid-November. And the strategy we're going to talk about today is something that you can use in the end of this year to help grow your coaching program in January. So from November to really December is like a dead time in the coaching world. As far as there's not a lot of people that are buying coaching programs, there's just a little more rare. You're going to see kind of your program take rate slow down big time. Like people aren't really ready to make those decisions. They're spending money in other places, gifts, holidays, those kind of things. And so as a coach, rather than throwing our hands up and being like, okay, there's no one's buying during this time, right? We can treat this time as a great opportunity to lead gen. So what I mean by lead gen is get people in your audience, grow your audience, and we can go one step further, which is what we're going to talk about today, so that when January hits and when you launch your next program, you're launching to a nice audience rather than to crickets. And there's a lot that we can do right now during the months of November and December that will set you up for success during January. The comments are open, so if you do have comments, YouTube pops up for me really well. Facebook, not so much, so I'll definitely get to it afterwards if I don't see it during. So definitely drop some comments during this or questions during this. I'm going to get to them as we go along. So best time to generate January leads, not in January. It is in December and November. And what we're going to talk about today doesn't require having an audience, really doesn't require much of a marketing budget, just requires some effort on your end. So this is a great strategy for the brand new coach, but it's also a strategy that we still deploy at my facilities right now. Now, let me kind of give you a little bit of a story on why the strategy that we're going to talk about today is so powerful. It's ultimately how I grew both of my businesses. So the strategy we're going to talk about today is borrowed audiences. So if you've listened to any of the other episodes that I've done, I talk about borrowed audiences a lot because I think this is one of the single greatest strategies to build a business, especially if you don't have any influence or any audience. So I used borrowed audiences early on in my coaching career because when I started coaching, I worked out of a local community center. So I was an independent contractor, meaning I wasn't an employee of the community center. I just essentially leveraged their facilities to start my coaching business. And I didn't have any clients at the time. And looking back on this was not an intentional strategy. This is just looking back, and this is hindsight. I don't think I would have found the same amount of success early on in my coaching career if I had tried to do it somewhere else or if we had just tried to start a gym from scratch. Because here's the thing, I was inadvertently borrowing the audience of the local community center, which meant they had hundreds of people coming through their doors every single day. And I happened to be the coach that was there working with people. So I had lots of eyeballs that were seeing what I was doing, right? And then people got interested. And then because they were already coming to the community center, it was really easy for them to work with me. And so I was able to build a client relatively quickly because I had all these eyeballs from this inadvertently borrowed audience of the community center, right? Hindsight looks like a really great idea. Like I had a lot of strategy behind it, but honestly, no strategy whatsoever. It was the only place, but it just happened to work out that way. So that's this concept of borrowed audience. And then we leveraged this again when we launched Coach Catalyst. So I've been part of masterminds pretty much for the duration of my career. And Coach Catalyst came probably about 7 to 8 years into my coaching career. And so we had developed a lot of relationships within the industry. And so when we had a MVP, when we had a product ready to go to market, we leveraged the audiences of other people to get that out there because we didn't have an audience inside of the fitness and nutrition world. right? Because we were coaches. We had audiences in the client world, but not in the kind of coach to coach world. So we leveraged the audiences of other people. We made it worth their while, affiliate commissions and other things. And we were able to get the product out to lots of people very quickly. And we're ultimately able to get hundreds of signups in just a couple days because we leveraged the audiences of other people. So this borrowed audience concept is extremely powerful, and when leveraged correctly, can build a business really, really quick, especially if you don't have any audience. So there's a few ways to run the borrowed audience, and I've talked about this before, but today I want to talk about borrowed audiences in a very specific way because of the time of year that we're in. So right now, again, it's November 18th when I'm going live with this episode. And so we've got a few things that are coming up in the end of the year. In the US, we have this little thing called Thanksgiving towards the end of November. And then we have essentially the holidays, right? From about middle December all the way through the new year. So we've got a lot of very specific things coming through. Now, what is the thought process around this time of year? It's charitable giving, right? Every community has drives like Toys for Tots, Share the Spirit, where we're giving away turkeys, we're raising for food shelves. There's a lot of charitable giving that happens from now until the end of the year. It's just the season, right? And so rather than trying to kind of create something, let's just lean in to where everyone's head is at. And so that's where I think about how do we borrow an audience and then connect it to a charity. I think this is like a 1-2 punch that makes this idea of borrowed audiences a lot easier because we're connecting it to a charity, right? Because sometimes the borrowed audience thing, it feels maybe a little bit weird. What do I give to this person? How do I approach this person? Right? What's in it for them? And I think there's a ways around all of those questions. I think it's still really powerful. But if we can connect it with a charity that is maybe really important in our community or really important to this person that we want to partner with, right? If we connect it to that charity, it becomes about the charity and less about our business, right? So we're leveraging their audience. We're going to provide a ton of value to their audience, but then we're going to give the value exchange to the charity. Right, we're going to give the money to the charity, and there's lots of ways to do that, and I'll kind of talk about that here in a little bit. But I'm just going to run off some examples of some borrowed audiences just to get you guys' wheels turning on some different ways or some different potential pockets of people that you could partner with. We've got like community centers, rec facilities. That would like my personal example. I think these work really well if you're a nutrition or behavior heavy coach. You can get into these ones that are a little bit more fitness focused. Right. Also in this one, think about fitness only type of businesses, row house, spin studios, yoga, Pilates studios, right? Where their main focus is fitness, but could you come in with a lifestyle, with a nutrition component and deliver something to their audience and ultimately give the proceeds to charity? Okay. We have local businesses that have databases, right? Maybe this is like real estate agents. Right? Maybe this is financial advisors. Maybe it's salons and spas. How I like to think about businesses is first principles. We always go back to our ideal client. Okay, we always go back to our perfect client. Where else do they spend their money? What salons do they go to? What massage therapists do they go to? Where do they get their nails done? Right? Could those be businesses that we could partner with? Ideally, we're going to pick a little bit more of a sophisticated business, one that has an email list and things like that. So it makes the partnership a little bit easier, right? But just think about those like kind of secondary businesses. Where do people spend their time? Maybe that's coffee shops, things like that. Where do people spend their money? Okay, that you want to get in front of. Okay, we've got gym studios. I talked about that a little bit. If you're more in the digital world, podcast hosts, right? They have an audience. We have local influencers, community leaders, Facebook groups, other networking groups, local chamber of commerce, right? Masterminds, industry, kind of specific groups. Like the list is endless, but how we narrow that down is who is my perfect client? Where else do they hang out? Who else has access to this audience, right? Then we create a partnership with that person. Right? We borrow their audience. We provide a ton of value to their audience, and then we give the value back to the charity in the name of the partner. We're giving all the credit away. That is, you want to make the partner, you want to put the partner on a pedestal. You want to make them the hero in this story. You're just coming in and providing a ton of value. Okay? And we're just borrowing their audience. So the action point from this kind of first talking point is who already serves your current clients or your perfect client, but doesn't compete. And then make a list of 10 people that serve that audience. Right? Make a list of 10 people and get a little bit crazy with it. And then from that list, are there any warm connections? Right? Do you have a current client that could connect you? Right? Are they in a social circle? Right? How can we get access to these people? Okay? So that's the first things first. We need to figure out who we are serving and then who also serves those people. So we go after borrowed audiences rather than cold audiences. It's a much, much cheaper way to get clients. So once we've kind of identified who these potential partners could be or who these audiences we could borrow, then we need to start thinking about like the framework around this. So this is a charitable partnership. Okay, it's not me asking to get in front of your clients. This is a charitable partnership. We are working together to then give money to this charity. I'm coming in and doing all of the work. I'm providing the value. They're providing the list. Okay, they provide the list. They provide the list. I provide the value. We give the money to the charity. Right. So this isn't free. Right. This isn't something free. Doesn't need to be expensive either. It could be $5, $10. And I'll give you a few examples on how we're going to do this here in a second. It could be $5 or $10, but all of that money goes to the charity. Okay. But it could also be $50, $60, $100. Right. It really depends on the clientele that we're working with, maybe the charity that we're working with. And the cool thing, if we do pick like a local charity that is a little bit more tech forward, they may also have a list and they can also get involved in this triangle and promote to their list as well. Right? Another great way to be able to just get in front of more people. May not be your ideal client, but it will get in front of more people. You don't need everyone. You just need a few people to be able to execute that. Okay. So everyone wins in this. You win, the audience owner wins, the charity wins. It's a win-win-win. So how do we execute on something like this? Over deliver on value. You have to make this an easy experience for the person that owns the audience. You need to make this an easy experience for the charity. You need to make this an incredibly valuable experience to their audience, right? Because again, they are passing off the trust that they've built with their audience to you. So you have to make sure that you don't break that trust and you over deliver. You provide incredible value, right? And then at the end of it, right, now those people are inside of your world, right? Ideally, they would go on like a newsletter marketing list or something like that so you can continue to communicate with them. And then we future pace. We talk about what's next for the people that want to continue, right? Because we're not solving their problem with this initial program, right? With this borrowed audience. We're just kind of giving them a taste of what we do and allowing them to find out, am I the right person to help them accomplish their goals? Okay. And then after the partnership, we want to make sure that we share any results with that partner. We want lots and lots of public recognition to this partner. We should be writing like a news brief that goes into the local newspaper. We should be posting on socials, tagging them. Again, we want to make this about the person's audience or the person that we're borrowing the audience from. We want to make it about them. We want to put them, right? We want to highlight them so that they want to do this again and again and again and again in the future. Okay. So some things to avoid when you're running this. We're not trying to sell, not trying to sell during this thing. The goal is value first. We want to provide an incredible experience that people are just asking, right? What's next? So incredible experience. So they ask what's next. They're going on to our email list. They're following us. Like we're bringing more people into our world that we can then regularly communicate with. So the goal is not to sell them during this challenge. Okay. We can't choose a charity at random. You need to be a little bit strategic about this. Personally, I like to keep things local. Like I'm not a huge fan of like American Heart Association. Cool. Very large charity, really nationwide, right? I like to pick things that are local. It makes it a little bit easier to get to decision makers, and also kind of keeps that community feel. If you are an online first coach or your delivery model is virtual online, cool. You can still go local. You can still pick someone that's local, a charity that's local, and you'll probably resonate better with something that is local. Or if you really understand the person that you want to partner with, maybe they have a charity that's really important to them, right? Maybe they have a child that has something going on that you can support. Maybe they have something that's near and dear to their heart, something they've talked about on their socials or that they've been very public about. We want to use that information, right? Because we want to come to the table prepared, right? Hey, I know that you are really connected with XYZ charity. I've got a little bit of a crazy idea, and I want to see if you would be open to partnering to raise some money for this particular charity. Okay, and tell me more, and then we get into that stuff. Okay, so always think about this being an ongoing relationship with these people. Okay, so now how do we really want to structure this offer? Something we want to talk about. This isn't like a full-blown 6, 8, 12-week program, right? This is something short. It's something simple. I think 5 days is probably a little too short. Sweet spot's probably in like the 14 to 21 days. Okay, it's enough time for people to really get some value out of it. It's not too long. We're not giving away too much, right? We want it short and sweet because remember the psychographic. Remember the time of year that we're in. People are busy. And so we want this to not feel like another thing that I have to do, but more like, hey, this is something that I can include in my kind of daily life. And it doesn't feel like I need another hour in my day. So at Coach Catalyst, we created a couple programs. One is called, I want to make sure I get the name exactly right for you guys, is the 12 Days of Fitness. And then the other one is called the Christmas Countdown. Okay, these are two programs that we've created that are really, really simple for this exact purpose. And these are fitness related, but you could create something nutrition related. You could create something lifestyle related. You could take one of the challenges we've created and shrink it down. But the goal with this challenge is one simple thing every day for the duration of the challenge. And the 12 days of fitness is actually 13 days long because there's kind of an intro day, but it all plays off like the 12 days of Christmas, right? But it's the 12 days of fitness. Again, speaking to the psychographic. Another one is the Christmas Countdown. This is a little bit longer. It's about 25 days. And I'll just give you the breakdown of these different programs. So the 12 days of fitness, there's 12 days, and each day we add another exercise. So on the first day of fitness is a front plank. On the second day of fitness is a wall sit and a front plank. And then on the third day of fitness is push-ups, wall sit, front plank, right? And so, or prone plank. And each day just adds another exercise. One set of things, doesn't take very long. It's a 60-second plank. It's a 30-second wall sit, right? Really, really simple stuff. Something that can be done in someone's living room, right? It can be done with their kids, right? Get their kids involved. And we can charge $15-20 for this, right? Or if you want to kind of keep with the theme, $12 for this. And it just gets someone into your world, gets them moving, right? Super simple. I don't need to have an extra hour of my day to do this. We're not asking too much. We want to keep this stuff really simple. The Christmas Countdown, that one is an exercise each day. So on day 1, it's a 1-minute plank. On day 2, it's 10 push-ups. On day 3, it's air squats. On day 4, it's a side plank. On day 5, it's running, 5 minutes of running or jogging or walking, things like that. So again, really simple things. When we market something like this, we do the Christmas Countdown every year. When we do this one, we say less than a 10-minute commitment every day for 25 days. And what this does is it starts to build momentum for the client. They start getting in the routine of doing something. So now they're feeling good, right? They've done 25 straight days, and then towards the end of it, we start to kind of talk about what's next, right? And invite them into our next program. So again, we're not trying to sell them throughout, but we're just showing them about what's next towards the end of the program. Again, super, super simple. So I've shown you 2 examples with fitness. You could do something with nutrition where maybe every day they're doing a little nutritional thing. Okay, today is drink 2 liters of water. Today is eat 1 serving of vegetables. Today is to have protein with breakfast, right? They can be really, really simple things. Again, don't overcomplicate this. Right? Don't overcomplicate it. Make it really simple. If you don't know what to do, just use some of the stuff we've already created. Both of those are inside of Coach Catalyst. If you're using Coach Catalyst, the 12 Days of Fitness is one, and the other one is a Christmas countdown. And then there's another one in there called No Holiday Weight Gain, which can work really well if you do have clients currently that you want to be involved in something. Okay? So really, really simple. So now when we're structuring this offer, there's a few ways that we can do it. We can give away everything to the charity, right? Or net proceeds. Maybe there's, you're doing credit card fees and those kind of things, or it could be a donation on your part. A lot of this is determined by where you're at in your business. Okay. Do you have money to spend? Right. Then you're able to kind of absorb some of that stuff and you use it as a charitable donation. Right. If you need cash, right, we can then do it where we would give X amount of money per person that signs up to this charity. Right. We probably need to charge a little bit more than to have that margin, but maybe it's $50, right, to do this thing. And $10 of every participant or $25 of every participant is going to go towards this charity. Another way to do it is to match that as a business. Again, depends on the stage of business that you're in, is to match it. So you as a business will match whatever goes to that charity. So maybe it's $10 per every participant, right? And you'll match up to $500. You see this all the time with financial institutions, right? But again, you have to know your numbers. You have to know what you're able to give. But if you do give regularly as a business, this could be a way to structure it to ultimately, 1, incentivize people to do the program, and then 2, to ultimately give more to that charity. So those are a couple examples. If you do have the ability to give all of it away, I think that's great, or call it net proceeds, right? Where you're going to give away everything minus credit card fees and those kind of things. But if you are a little more established, you can kind of absorb some of that stuff. So whenever we do this stuff, we always want to think about it, what's in it for them. When we look at who has the most leverage in this like triangle, right? The audience owner has the most leverage. You may think that you're doing all the work, right? It's your IP, it's your program, right? But honestly, the person that owns the audience has the most leverage because they have the eyeballs, right? And so they should get the lion's share of everything because they have the most leverage, right? And so we need to make them look like the hero, right, of their audience. We want to provide genuine value without a ton of effort on their part. Okay, that's the second thing. 1, make them look like a hero. 2, make it stupid easy for them to be able to do it. Write the emails to send out to their people. Create the landing page for people to sign up, or the form for people to sign up. Right? Provide incredible value. Regularly give feedback to that person on how great their audience is, if those are things. Allow them to participate in it as well, right? So you can start to develop that relationship with them, because this is a long play, right? This is just the first opportunity to work with this person. And if it goes really, really, really well, right, you want to continue to work with them in the future, especially if they're a mover and a shaker and they're continuing to grow their audience, right? You can grow right along with them. A good example, and I have to give credit to Dan Martell with this one, was pretend like they're a speeding train going down the tracks, right? All you want to do is hook onto that train and go along for the ride, right? You don't need to go as fast as that train. You just have to create a good enough hook to hook onto that train, and then you're going to ride their momentum, okay? And that's going to allow you to build your business as well. I've done it multiple times, and I think this is one of the best strategies to build your business. And the cool thing about this time of year, especially this time of year, I think this one can work all of the time, but especially during this time of year when people are more charitable, it's great to create this partnership with that third-party charity involved. So they have the audience. We provide the value and the reason for people to sign up, and then we give the money to charity, and then we make the audience owner look like the hero. Okay. Super, super simple. So execution on this is not all that hard. The hard part in this is finding the correct one to do. And you can do multiple too. Don't just feel like you need to do one. You can definitely do multiple of this, and it's really not all that much more work for you, especially if you're using something like Coach Catalyst. But find those people, make a list, start making reach outs. Doesn't need to be complicated, right? Frame it around helping this charity, and you're going to come in and provide a ton of value to their audience, right? So if you have questions about this strategy, definitely tag me in the comments. We should be using this on a regular basis. If you're a brand new business, if you're an established business, it doesn't matter. The strategy still works, and it will continue to work till the end of time. So hopefully you got some value out of that. If you have questions, definitely tag me. My name is Trevor. I'm the CEO of Coach Catalyst, and thanks for hanging out with me. I'll be back next Tuesday at noon Central. See ya.